Can I ask a simple question this morning? There's got to be somebody out there who knows a little bit more about perhaps the gasoline markets than I do. I was driving through town this morning and looking at the pump prices up and down the streets and trying to get a feel for where they are compared to, let's say, 4 years ago when I first arrived here. This morning, before I left the house, I was listening to a TV report, and one of the newscasters was saying that gasoline is the cheapest it has been in many, 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 many years, more than a dozen or so, or maybe even longer in real dollar terms. In several states, I think 7 total, it's now below $2 a gallon, which is a real bargain for consumers. And I was also listening to this very same news anchor point out that we could save as a population in the coming year, if prices don't change, $2.5 billion. That's money that would likely go back into the economy in some other area. But here's the thing. I'm driving down the street and I'm noticing that the gas prices here are 90 cents to $1 more than they were 4 years ago today. I arrived here just before New Year's, and I can remember gasoline prices bottoming out at just under $1.50 a gallon. They're somewhere in the neighborhood today. I saw from $2.44 to up to $2.65, but an average probably around $2.50. So $1 more 4 years later than it happened to be in 2015 at the beginning of that year. So something here is a little amiss, at least in the gem state where I happen to live. Now, people will say, well, obviously the oil markets and the gasoline markets, they're not like other markets, and I do understand that there's some uniqueness in all of this. However, again, everybody else is paying a lot less, but we aren't. And even though we've seen a huge drop anywhere probably from, I don't know, 60 to 70 cents over the last few months, I've got to be honest with you. Something is still amiss if we were a lot cheaper 4 years ago. And again, there's an argument being made by a lot of people I know that we have a new gasoline tax that went into effect here a few years ago. That was because we were deficient in a fund that we needed for rebuilding roads. And of course, that is a very serious issue. You want to be driving along a bridge, and you want that bridge to remain standing, especially while you're driving on it. And where I happen to live, we have one main bridge coming into town, but it spans a large canyon, a canyon that is about 500 feet deep in that particular spot. So the bridge is one of these miracles that have gone up. But without that bridge, the economy here comes to a complete halt. It comes to a complete skid. So yes, we want these things. But that tax was, I think, 7 cents per gallon. Now, if you say, all right, gasoline right now is selling for $2.50 a gallon. Let's just throw that in there as an average. I'm still looking at this and saying to myself, okay, 7 cents, and even if you were to buy 4 gallons of gas, that would be 28 cents. 10 gallons of gas, that would be 70 cents. I'm still not able to put together the math here on why we are still seeing prices $1 more per gallon than just a few years ago. Something is a little rotten about this. And then people will say, well, it's really about where the refineries are located. The closer you are to a refinery, the cheaper your gasoline is going to be. All right, that makes sense. But when I remember driving here, I came through Wyoming, which is just adjacent to us, not all that far away, and there's a massive Sinclair refinery. I passed it going down the highway. And then in Pocatello, which is all of maybe a little more than an hour to our east, there's another massive refinery. So it's not as if we're lacking when it comes to refining capacity. There's got to be a bigger and greater explanation here. Will oil stay as low as it is in the coming year? Well, probably not. Most of the people who analyze these things say there will be somewhat of a rally, although it's probably not going to get back to where it was in this past summer. We'll have some intermediate point in there. And in fact, a lot of the economists who look at these things say that dirt cheap oil is actually not good for the economy in the long run. Short term, it means I have a lot more money in my pocket and I can go out and buy a few more pizzas. But long term, it means that there are going to be people around the world who are going to be suffering from it, and they're not going to be buying extras, and that's going to be a drag on the worldwide economy. You figure this out. Somewhere, somehow, somebody's still making a buck, and somebody's still doing very, very well. All right, just wanted to throw those thoughts out there today. Nothing really profound. and nothing really lengthy, but I'm hoping someone can give me an answer to the question. And otherwise, have a great New Year's Day. Before I wrap up, I should point out the most useless day of any year is the first one. And what do? You watch a football game maybe, or an outdoor hockey game, and it's like an extra Saturday in the week, but unlike Saturday, you got to go back to work the next day. And in my case, at 3 a.m. Yeah, nothing fun about that at all, right?